Good morning. Thank God it's Friday, so let's do Friday business here on Business Morning, which is live on Channels Television. I'm Ini John Mekwa. Let's begin, as usual, with global oil space. Now, prices gained about $1 in early trade, lifted by supply concerns and a weaker U.S. dollar as attention turns to what OPEC and allies, including Russia, agree at the meeting. U.S. West Intermediate crude futures for September delivery rose by $1.09 to $97, reversing losses from a recession in the United States. Well, let's see what's happening back here in Nigeria. And we see Boa Food. It's a leading food and consumer goods company. Boa Foods has held its first annual general meeting and is declaring a profit after tax of 69.8 billion naira for 2021. And that's almost double the profit it declared in 2020, declaring dividends of 3 naira 50 kobo on a 1 naira 24 kobo per share. The group's founder and chairman, Mr. Abdul Samad Rabiu, says that the company is determined to do its part in ensuring food security in the country and has increased its revenue in 2021 to 333.2 billion naira from 192.9 billion naira in 2020.
Fulfilling Africa's food demands by promoting food security and nourishing lives. That is the promise of Boa Foods PLC, makers of Boa sugar, flour, pasta, rice, and edible oils.
Happy birthday to you.
This annual general meeting falls on the 62nd birthday of Boa Group's founder and chairman, Abdul Samad Rabiu, who speaks on the company's plans.
We have seen an opportunity, to probably be doing about 50,000 tons every month in terms of exports, simply because most of these countries that are importing sugar, they have to either import from India, from Thailand, from Brazil. So if you look at the voyage time, it's almost 3-4 times than from Nigeria to those countries.
Sugar contributed 63% to the company's 2021 revenue of 333.2 billion naira, while flour contributed 19%. Shareholders are leaving with 63 billion naira in dividends for 2021, according to the company's managing director.
A lot of the shareholders are less than 6 months or about 6 months old on the register. But in our spirit of democratizing our shareholders and also allowing more public participation, we feel it's an important element for us to get everybody on board in this first AGM to actually start seeing the promises that we offer and we want to run with over a very long period to come.
Payment of these dividends show the resilience of the company at a time of global economic challenges. Mr. Abdul Samad Rabiu says the company is poised to meet Africa's growing demand for food.
Food security is very, very important. Boa Foods is doing everything possible to address some of these issues. But we know that at the end of the day, we really need to look inwards. What is happening in Ukraine and Russia, I believe, is a wake-up call for all of us, not only in Nigeria but in Africa, knowing fully well that at the end of the day, we need to do more in order for us to feed our people.
Boa Foods PLC is consolidating and restructuring its business in 2022 and promising a more diversified revenue stream in the coming years to create more revenue for the business and shareholders.
Now to other issues. Well, not very far from that, Nigerian manufacturers have slashed their investments by 56% in 7 years. Why? Well, the realities and economic headwinds. Between 2016 and 2021, manufacturers' investment tumbled from 489.44 billion to 217.22 billion, and that's according to data collected by Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. One would have thought the figures would be going up, especially with inflation. Well, reasons for this range from operating environment, insecurity, which is a major responsible factor here in Nigeria, and it is a major responsibility of the government. Well, we have joining us to help us piece this together, former Commissioner of Commerce in Ogun State, and now the chairman of Odua Investment Company, Otumba Bimbola Ashiru, joins us virtually to look at what's going on with businesses and how governments should be helping businesses at this time. Good morning, Mr. Ashiru. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Good morning, Inni. Thank you for having me around today.
Great. So at least you have first-hand knowledge, both from the private sector. You were in the private sector before you went to the public sector, and now you're back to the private sector. Tell us, as an insider, what really is the relationship between the private sector and the public sector? We keep talking about we want to boost investment, we want to have PPP and all of that. How much time do they spend together talking, collaborating and strategizing, for investments and businesses in the country?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ine. One of the key areas where the private and the public sector should work together. You see, relationship between private and public sector is like husband and wife. So for a private sector-driven economy, you must ensure that you carry the stakeholders along. And what do you mean by stakeholders? Those are the people that are going to be involved in your decision-making. You cannot take a decision as a government without getting the private sectors involved. And I'll give you a good example. You are taking a decision on the business sector, on the electrical engineering sector, telecommunication. You need to talk to the stakeholders. You must engage the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? You must be able to call up them and ask them questions on how their business can be improved. Because don't forget that these stakeholders, these private sectors, are the ones that are actually helping the economy in terms of IGR. I mean, they pay taxes. The income you get there, that's how you pay all the salaries of the civil servants and everything. So the most important thing is that you must engage them. For example, if you are taking bills to the national or state assemblies, the members of the assembly or the national assembly, they will invite private sectors, they will invite stakeholders so that they can now listen to the bills and put their own inputs. They need the inputs of the private sector to take decisions. For example, in the next few months, the budget allocation will be, they start thinking about budget. They must engage private sectors, they must have stakeholders meetings, they must have town hall meetings so that they can have their inputs. But if you run a government and you don't have the input of private sector, it's a failure. Look at all the economy in the world. The private sector are very, very key. They are very important. For example, if you have a president of any country visiting another country for bilateral relationship, they take key head of private sectors, key head of manufacturing industries, different industries to those countries so that they can engage and, a network so that they can have ideas on how things should be done. So for government, private sector is the key function for them. They must involve the private sector. They must take decisions with them. They must ask the areas where they have issues and everything. So if you don't do that, then you must be a dictatorial government. Because from my own experience in government, like you said, I'm a front door. I've seen both inside and outside. From my own experience in government, when I was in government, we engaged all the manufacturing in Nigeria, the telecoms association, the engineering, chambers of commerce. We engaged them because we want to know how things are going to be done, what they feel. Because look at what is happening now, the valuation of Naira. Private sector cannot even take decisions. Then another thing that is happening is insecurity. And the areas where private sector will help you is the area whereby corporate social responsibility. Take, for example, when you discuss with them, they can tell you areas where they can engage, where they can support government, and government will now give them what they call tax incentives.
Okay, Mr. Ashiru,
the industry, the road was so bad.
Yes, I'm just wondering, in the midst of this, especially at a time like this, I think this question will come to a lot of people's mind. How much of these meetings that we talk about is actually free of political sentiments? That commissioners of commerce or ministers of trade and investments actually meet with the private sector, and the conversation is devoid of political sentiment and interest. And let's just look at how we're going to, for instance, at this time when the country needs to boost non-oil export, how can we in reality deal with this issue and keep politics aside? How much of, that can you divorce from politics?
Sorry, I didn't hear that question very well. The volume wasn't good in your area. But if I get it right, I think
Yeah,
The
I was
question
saying,
you're
can you hear
asking,
me now? Can you hear me now, Mr. Ashiru? Can you hear me now?
sorry,
Okay, can you hear me now, Mr. Ashiru?
yeah, go on.
Okay, so I was asking that, I mean, at a time like this, there's so much.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you very well. Yeah.
Awesome. At a time like this, that there's so much politicking, how much of these decisions or meetings do you do or is being held? You're no longer in government, you know, divorcing political sentiment and interest so that only the national development interest is placed at the fore. How much of lack of political sentiments do we have? How much of political sentiments do we have?
Okay, let me give you an example. As a government, as a business person, you must ensure that you are part of any government. Now, you see that all the businesses in Nigeria now, they are involved in government. They are involved in politics. They want to be friendly with all the aspirants because whoever comes in will now be their right. So, but the point is that, like I always tell people, government, businessmen have no business being in politics. They should ensure that whoever comes in, they give their support to the person. But your engagement must be there because, I mean, you support them financially, but at the same time, every businessman is selfish because what they are looking at is the interest of their business. So they now want to be sure that whoever comes in is somebody that will better the interest and ensure that their business thrives, which is very good. And I'll say this, government has no business in business. All government needs to do is to create the enabling environment for business to thrive. And how do you do that? Is the engagement of both public and private sector. So it's very important. And at the same time, you must ensure that all these things are done in a uniform way and in a strategic way. So politicking, you can't afford to be seen to be going out there and say, oh, I'm supporting this candidate, I'm supporting that candidate. But at the background, you can bring in some ideas, strategic objectives, strategic views on how the country could be run and how it's going to better your business. And that is very key. So the engagement is, you must be very, very careful, you must be tactful, you must be strategic about your engagement in politicking. It's very important as a business person.
All right, so now you're heading an investment group. Uh, I guess we should say congratulations there being the chairman of Odua Investment. But how much has today's realities, economic realities, how is it affecting or changing your running of the business at this time with the politics election coming up and then we have the war going on in Ukraine and some other inflation and all of that that is affecting the economy? Oh, I think we lost Mr. Ashiru there. I do hope that we can get him back. But it'll be interesting to know that, especially as it's running an investment group, we're talking of inflation, we're talking of operating costs that is affecting everybody at this time, even individuals. And of course, businesses have to keep making decisions. We've had manufacturers come to say how they have to lay off staff to reduce their operating costs. They have to adjust because of the increase in the price of diesel, you know, and then of course demand is not increasing because consumers are also operating in the same environment. Liquidity is squeezed, so that means that demand may not be meeting up what expectations were. So it will be interesting to know how some businesses are adjusting to that reality. I think we have Mr. Ashiru back. Are you back, Mr. Ashiru?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I wanted to know how today's realities is affecting your running off your investment group, you know, with inflation and all of that. What differences has it brought to decisions you have to make daily in the operations of your business?
Let me be honest with you, Ine. People say that this is now a reality of the world. And you must now start thinking out of the box. How do you make the best of the bad situation? Like you rightly said, everywhere, even homes, you must now start strategizing and see how you can focus. I will be honest with you, our focus is now to look at how do we augment our businesses. You know, we are in hospitality business. We have the airport hotel. We have Premier Hotel. So what we're trying to do now is to bring in investors that will. We've made a policy as a group now that we don't want to have more than 40% in any of our investments. So we're encouraging joint ventures. We're encouraging investors to come in and bring in business to join us for our business. And let me be honest with you, you cannot be doing things the same way. So we are now trying to ensure that whatever we are doing, we are trying to cut costs and save things. And at the same time, enhancing our production and productivity. And let me tell you this, we will try as much as possible not to add more to the unemployment in the country. What we are going to do is to ensure that our group, we are now trying to strategize. I'll give you a good example. Now, we'll have Wema Board. Wema Board is going to be managing all our properties. So the group is going to be a lean oldco, whereby the members of staff at the head office to be reduced, and we are moving them to all our branches, all our operations. So the point is this: you must now start thinking on how to make the best of the bad situation, how to enhance revenue, and those are the things we are focusing on. So, but the issue of diesel, cost of production, is all over the country. Even it's all over the world. And I can tell you that is the effect of the Ukraine war, which I keep on telling people that war, you can only see the beginning of the war, you don't see the end of the war.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening. And we need to work on how, even as a country, look at the rate of exchange. The dollar naira has been devalued. No businessman can plan strategically anymore. Even the insecurity in the country is there. So all these things, you need to balance it and ensure that you make the best of the situation. And those are the things we are strategizing on. And we have retreats regularly to ensure that we get the business on track. And don't forget that it's a chain. We are all involved in all the businesses all over the country. So we must ensure that we get ourselves back to track and ensure that we get the things done properly.
Yeah. So when you talk about re-strategizing, in my conversation with manufacturers and all that, one of the strategy people seem to be adopting now, we're hoping they adopt it more, is reverting to local raw materials, you know, as a way of cutting costs. And also, when you talk of the naira, boosting the naira, is your group, are you looking at areas like this?
Yes, I will tell you this. Nigeria as a nation, we have no business being an import-dependent economy. We are supposed to be an export-dependent economy. And we should focus on agriculture that will lead into the industrialization. And that's why you are talking about raw material. We must be able to grow, we must be able to plant and grow. But what are we doing? We are not doing that anymore. The bandits have occupied all the farmlands. Even the farmers have now become, some of them have become bandits. So that's the problem. Insecurity is another problem we have in the country. So the local raw materials, they are what we are supposed to be using to support the industries, manufacturing industries. But now we bring in raw materials into the country, and there's so much pressure, and that's why naira is being devalued all the time, and you cannot even plan within your business. So the point is this: let us encourage agriculture. And how do we encourage agriculture? We must have good preservation system, this infrastructural system, because the roads that leads to the farmland, the rural dwellers will not even plant anymore. They couldn't do anything because they are worried. They'll be arrested. They'll be kidnapped by bandits. And even whatever revenue you're making, when somebody is being kidnapped, somebody that makes revenue over 5 million naira in a year and is being kidnapped and they're asking for 50 million naira, how would they cope? So the problem is that we still need government. And I'm saying it, we need government to come to the aid of an average Nigerian. The security system is bad. The security is there. You know, formerly, we used to have people bringing in farm products from the north. It's not possible anymore. We don't have farmers anymore. We don't. So the problem is that, like you rightly said earlier, it's a win-win situation. Government must come in. They must secure the country. If you don't secure the country, there's nothing you can strategize. The raw materials we are talking about, it won't work. For example, I happen to be someone that commissioned the first ethanol company in Nigeria. What they needed was cassava, and they were admiring for 280 tons per day, and that created job for 15,000 farmers because they are being paid. And these are the products that is being used. We get starch from ethanol, from cassava, we get CO2, and those are the cosmetic things that we're using. But what are we talking about now? If farmers do not grow that, if we create unemployment, now, like I do work is the devil's workshop. So now these guys now become bandits, They become kidnappers because they can make quick money.
Yeah.
So we need to do that. Government needs to do that. And like I've said it, and I've told one of the governors before, that they should announce that whoever is in the forest, they should come out within a month. If you're in the forest, you have no business in the forest, what you need to do is go to the forest and bombard all of them. We have the technology to identify those people who are bandits in this country. So we must work on that. If we don't sort out the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, it is back to basics. And things will continue to happen in this country.
All right, Mr. Bimbo Ashiru, Chairman, Udua Investment Company, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. And, well, I guess it's all the same. We kind of run away from the fact that the issue of insecurity has to be dealt with. If we even want to use local raw materials, then it has to be available. If it has to be available, then there must be security in the country. This is a huge job awaiting the next administration. So while politicking and electioneering, this is a major factor to consider. Well, let's take a break now. You're still watching Business Morning here on Channels Television. We discuss, in continuation of this, developing or boosting the cocoa value chain. That's after the break. Do join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning here on Channels Television. Let's talk cocoa now. It's Nigeria's leading agricultural export, and it seems to be receiving some sort of attention. The federal government has just launched a National Cocoa Management Committee to tackle challenges in the production of the crop. Well, Nigeria is the third largest exporter after Ivory Coast and Ghana. And before the oil boom, cocoa was a major foreign exchange earner for the country. While looking at boosting non-oil exports, can the glorious days be reclaimed? We have Mr. Abolarinwa Muftau. He's the national president of Cocoa Association of Nigeria. Good morning, Mr. Muftau. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio this morning. All right, so it's like you guys have been receiving some attention these days. How much interaction do you have with the government as cocoa producers or Cocoa Association?
Well, we have always been in line with the federal government as to the improvement of cocoa in Nigeria. We have various segments, like from the Ministry of Trade and Investment, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, and the Federal Ministry of Agric. All of them have been trying to do something, but they have not done. We have not yet there.
What about this committee that they just launched? Are you part of it?
Yes, I'm part of the member.
Okay.
I'm there. They launched the National Cocoa Management Committee. Yes. Purposely just to ensure that all the value chain within Cocoa Group are put together in the committee so that we can be able to do something from all this fragile group that we have been having from various groups.
Well, how effective is your meetings, the committees, and how effective and productive has it been?
With the government?
Yes. This one now is supposed to deal with the challenges that you're facing.
They said so, but so far they have not.
They said so.
Yes, we have not seen it physically.
But have you been having conversations that look to you that, you know, something is going to happen? Is there a plan that seems implementable?
Yes, there is a plan. There is a 10-year cocoa development plan by the federal government, but it has not yet worked physically.
Why?
Well, through supposed to be along with all the ministers, but the bureaucracy within the government sectors. Some ministries have approved, some ministries have not approved. And until all these things being collated together before the Federal Executive Council can approve the workability of the system, it's still hanging. And the new one had now just been formed. They said another group, and I think one step forward, 10 legs backward.
So we're just having committees and meetings, yes. But when it comes to actioning...
Implementation, it has not been forthcoming.
And what's the government saying? You're the president of National Association. You must have been talking to someone.
So we do, and I think their major problem is that they lack coordinations. They want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. And if they don't know how to do it, they need to collaborate.
So tell them how to do it.
We do. Now, what I'm saying is this. We've always been discussing with them. They have always been listening. But the question is, how do we move forward as a nation? Like, for instance, like the cocoa production, which the Minister of Agric supposed to be their major assignment to ensure that we get enough seedling to the farmers. The seedling they are giving out is not enough to meet the required production. Because for now, like in the year before the advent of this our own group, when during the marketing board, Nigeria was number 2 in the world after Ghana. Ghana is 415, Nigeria is 410.
Now we are number 3 exporter.
We are not even in number 3 in the world. Except
okay, no, in Africa.
In Africa, yes.
Yeah, Ivory Coast and Ghana are ahead of us now.
Yes, they are far, far ahead of us. That's what I'm saying. Because if Ivory Coast is doing 2.2 million tons of cocoa, Ghana is doing 1.1 million tons of cocoa, Nigeria is doing 300,000 tons of cocoa. And we're all at par when we started. In fact, Ivory Coast is behind us as at that time. We have 380,000 tons. Nigeria is 410. Ghana is 415.
So what are the specific issues? Is it access to funds? Is it farmland? Is it pests and insecticide? Or what?
I think everything is involved. Access to farmland is one of the major factors. And the proactive of the government to ensure that every cocoa producing state in Nigeria are not getting...
I think we're supposed to have about 20 or more states, but at the moment we have about 6 states producing cocoa. Is it up to 6?
No, we have 16 states that is producing cocoa.
Oh, but we only hear of Ondo, Cross River. We only have about 6 of them.
Yes, you do, because that's the major thing that we are talking of. You know, you'll be shocked to know that they can grow cocoa in Kaduna. They can grow cocoa in Adamawa. There's cocoa in Taraba. There's cocoa in but all these things are still very small production. The government they're supposed to declare a national program for cocoa that must be our own major agricultural product.
It was before now.
Yes.
It was a major cash crop.
Major cash crop. But you see, the way we have been facing it, it has not been proactive. That's what I would say. The government, yes, they wanted to do it, but they don't know how to do it. Or let me say, they know how to do it, but they still want issue of government issue to do this.
So it's back to bureaucracy.
So, and as long as this government, the government, not only this government, all the government, it's not their business all they need to create an enabling environment for the practitioners to ensure that they do what is supposed to be.
What about state governments?
State government, all of them are very docile. I know that's the way we can call it. Because they are all interested in drawing funds. Okay, let us increase grading fee to make money. But the thing that is laying the golden egg is not developed. Because we are talking of 300,000 tons of cocoa in a year. Some countries are doing 2,005. And even if the state government is charging 60,000 naira per ton, you know what that one would mean if it is.
So there's actually money there if the states will look that way.
Of course.
And then the country will not be as broke as we see.
Nigeria has no problem. They have no business with poverty at all. In terms of employment, cocoa agricultural product will generate it. What are we looking for?
So what can we do now? Especially, I mean, you guys in the private sector. What can be done now, at least to salvage, even if it's just, you know, on a smaller scale? What can be done?
I don't think it's supposed to be on a smaller scale.
If we can start from the smaller scale.
As at today, we are talking of 300,000 tons, almost 300, 280, thereabouts of what we did last year. Ondo State alone graded 85,000 tons of cocoa. Remove it, and you share, let's say, maybe Cross River, another 60,000 tons. Remove that one from what we are talking of, 280,000 tons. What is left? And we have 16 states that can produce cocoa effectively in this country.
So there's nothing we can do but wait for the government, you know, to deal with or make the farmland available, deal with the issue of seedlings. And there's also the issue of price cap now. I think Ghana, they have a price cap. They're supposed to make it sell better for cocoa producers.
Yes. They have, that's, you know, we are, all of us are operating on different, Nigeria, we are doing a liberalized business. Since 1987, when this marketing board issue have destroyed the cocoa business because everybody are just continue making money. Baboon they work, a monkey they work, baboon they chop. So that's why the federal government then, during the, what was it called, Babangida and Falaye, they have to scrap it.
Price cap.
Yes, because they know that the farmers are working and they are not getting results.
So you're happy with, you know, no price cap?
No, we are happy. Because if there's price cap and some people are enjoying it, the money did not go directly to the farmer.
Yeah.
So what are we talking?
Okay. Then, I mean, since we have not even optimized our production, it's kind of difficult to talk about adding value. For instance, in February, there are some countries like Paris, France, and all of that. They make a lot of money during Valentine period because of chocolates, you know, because there are gifts. Now, we are not even adding value. I mean, we can't even optimize our production. So we can't even talk of producing it, following the value chain, and, you know, so that by the time we export, we are actually exporting things that have value.
Well, the question of value depends on the level you are talking of it. We are adding value.
Are we producing things with our cocoa, or we are exporting raw cocoa buds?
Yes, when you are talking of raw cocoa
seeds, yeah.
Cocoa seed.
Yes.
You know, it takes stages. For you to get that cocoa in the market, it takes 21 days from the farm process. And to produce cocoa and other byproducts, as you have said, as we have not had in value, it is possible. It is doable. We can achieve it. But the problem is the government directions. Like, for instance, now, if the CBN give, well, yes, I think they are trying to do, they are doing something now, at least the Nigerian Export Promotion Nexim Bank are supporting cocoa seriously now, giving money to the exporters to ensure, and both the processor and everybody, which I think is in the right directions. But in the other way, as it is, the government himself, what they need to do is that they need to call all the practitioners, all the operators in this field, sit down together. We work out a national program that will ensure that we get to where we're supposed to get to. Because
so not just sit down and talk, but also implement what has been agreed.
Yes, and agreed.
I think from what you have said, that is a major hurdle. It's not just about having the plan or talking about it, but actually the action that needs to follow afterwards.
We as the president, we are tired of meetings with them. Because let us do something. It's even a shame that this country are doing, we are talking of 300 tons of cocoa. What's the population of landmass of Ivory Coast and Ghana? Lagos, Ondo alone with Edo State should be able to produce what Ghana is producing, because they have the vast land to do it. But our government, I don't know. Everybody will keep on talking grammars on the telephone, on the TV. We are doing that. We are forming a national listing. But what is it on the ground for the people to do it?
All right, Mr.
Because Nexim that this thing is supposed to have taken place now. 10 years national cocoa plan. We have not moved to a niche. I don't know.
And yes, we have another committee being formed.
Now, that one I've not solved, and they are now forming another committee.
All right, Mr. Bolarinwa Mufutau, National President of Cocoa Association. I guess on our end here, what we have to do, we'll keep talking and hope that one day that will push some action into the limelight. Thank you so much for being our guest on the show this morning.
Thank you.
All right.
For having me.
Yeah. So we'll move to the markets now and find out. We don't have to look too far because we do see that sentiment has remained bearish in the domestic bourse. Sell-offs in Bois Cement minus 4.5% persisted. The all-share index settled 3 basis points lower, not very different from the previous day, but of course it's still in the red. Consequently, the month-to-date and year-to-date returns printed 0.4% and 18.4% respectively. If we could have the figures on the screen, I think you could help me there from the MCL. That's right. So the total volume traded increased by 7.7%, and there you have the all-share index was down. The volume was 130 million, value 1.62, and deals just less than 4,004 yesterday. And let's look at the activity chart. No, the sectors now. Sectors for yesterday. Banking was in the positive, thanks to Accessco and Zenith Bank. Yeah, they did that yesterday. While we see consumer goods also was up. Industrial and insurance was flat yesterday. Oil and gas was in the red yesterday. Let's look at the fixed income market now and see how they did. The FGM bonds yesterday, we had 11 deals valued at 4.96 billion naira, while the treasury bills was just two deals for the treasury bills valued at 884. But I think we have Mr. Fakaejo now, Rotimi Fakaejo, share stockbroker, to talk to us about some of the things that we have seen in the market recently. Good morning, Mr. Fakaejo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Yeah, so this is, I don't think there's an end coming soon to this redness we see in the markets.
Well, I don't see so as well. My thought is with the situations around the country, the volatility of the Naira now, we see it jump up, we see it crash the next day, is really a thing of concern. And the worry about our the external reserve of the country, the figure not being known exactly what it is.
Yeah, I saw that controversy. We've not been able to wade in because we haven't heard from the authorities, to know which way really is the real way when it comes to that, the amounts in the external reserve. And that's not a good one, obviously.
Yes, so we need to know the exact figure, as it were. Then that definitely will guide the market. But be it as it may right now, like I said the other time, that we will be seeing some of the high cap stocks shedding load, and that may actually alter the position of the all-share index. But aside from that, I still believe that the market is still a very good one to hold on to. Yes, there will be bearish trend. People want to sell out of fear, out of panic, election, and all. But we have experienced this before, and we are experiencing it again, and we're definitely going to overcome it. So the market remains a long term. Investors must always bear this in mind. Yeah, and that if they bear that in mind, then definitely we will have less volatility as we've been having. Yeah, so investors, even with the current position of the market, yes, the dividend yield of most stocks that actually pay dividend is still in the upward of above 10%, which is more than what you may get from fixed income market. So be that as that remains, the investors don't have anything to fear. Leave your investments as it were. Nigeria is not going to crash. Nigeria is going to remain. We've seen a more difficult time than this in the past, and we overcame it. So this time around, we're also going to overcome. And we should be more positive about our approach.
All right, Mr. Fakaejo, some people would say you're preaching this way because you are involved, you're a stakeholder. That's why you're being so positive about it. But we'll take your word for it for now. Mr. Rotimi Fakaejo, stockbroker with NGX, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Have a great weekend. Let's take a break now. After the break, we'll head to London. Juliana is standing by to stay with us. This is Business Morning on Channels Television. Welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television. We'll head to London now. Hi, Juliana. Good morning. It's the day after the rates hike, Juliana. What are the conversations going on over there?
Good morning, Innie. Well, the conversations have been pretty bleak, and this is after yesterday's very sombre assessment of the UK economy by the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey and the rest of the Monetary Policy Committee. And now, the only thing that wasn't surprising is that interest rates were hiked. We was expecting this. This is the sixth consecutive hike of interest rates. They were risen by 0.5%, taking them to 1.75%, which is the highest rate in 27 years. But I think it was the briefing after those minutes that's really kind of put a chokehold on millions of families across the United Kingdom, and that is that inflation, which is currently at 9.4%, will reach above 13% by the end of the year. And the UK is going into a very long and deep recession. We're expecting, or what it's forecast, that there will be 5 consecutive quarters of recession, something we haven't seen since the 2008 financial crisis. Now, we know that one of the main contributing factors to the downturn in the economy is rising gas prices, which have trebled this year, and that's down to mainly the Russian war in Ukraine. And this is having a knock-on effect on energy bills. This time last year, they were about £1,200. By October, annual bills are going to be over £3,000. So now, you know, experts, economists, the government, the Bank of England are really telling people in the United Kingdom that they need to tighten up their purses and start looking at how they can avoid struggling, because we know that millions of families are struggling. According to the Roundtree Foundation, about 7 million households over the past couple of months have had to decide whether they're going to skip a meal or not heat their home because things are not great. So really a gloomy outlook. And if you are watching from the UK, I'm sure you see that it's everywhere. You can't get away from this cost of living crisis and just how bad things are unfortunately going to get.
Yeah, well, bad everywhere, Julian. I just wonder why it seems like it's worse in the UK. But we have house prices dropped by 0.1% month on month in July. This is the first decrease in more than a year. Coming at a time like this, what does it mean?
Well, it's a marginal dip, but I think the data released by Halifax, their house price index, does show that, you know, the cost of living crisis is taking a hold. We've been speaking extensively over the past couple of years about just how buoyant the housing market has been in the UK. The average price of an average home is over £300,000. That's an increase of over £30,000 in the last 12 months alone. But as we know, even though rising interest rates does try to abate rising inflation, it also has a knock-on effect on how much it costs to borrow. So if you're a first-time buyer and it's costing you so much to borrow, plus your wages are not going as far as they used to, you may decide not to purchase that property. So demand is lowered and therefore prices are going down. And now it's only a marginal dip, 0.1%, but I think a lot of experts are saying that, you know, this is a sign of things to come. And I think all the data does indicate that this recession that's predicted for the end of the year could come any time from now.
Yeah, looks like it's getting really, really close, Juliana. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you at 1:30.
Thanks, Innie.
All right, doesn't look very good there in the UK, but I guess it doesn't look good anywhere in the world at this time. In Europe, in Nigeria, we are all discussing it. But let's see if it looks any better in the crypto space. Ladi is here. Ladi, I see you smiling. I guess.
Well,
let me see your greed or your fear greed index. If it's
still fair.
It's still fair.
Yeah,
so.
well, we're still seeing fear in the market. So at the end of the day, we're still, you know, within this range, hopefully. But we've improved, you know, from last
yes, I know it used to be about
months.
10.
10. Got as low as 8. So this is an improvement, but not greed yet.
Well, not greed.
Let's
I think we're still far away from greed when we look at the realities everywhere.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the numbers now. We see market sentiment showing 31 points there. Fear, better than extreme fear at this point. Let's take a look at the market cap now for the crypto space, talking about the whole Bitcoin and the altcoin. We see there 1.09 trillion dollars. This one's up 1.99%. Talking about the market cap, and we see the volume traded in the total crypto space there, $64.73 billion. That's down about 1.87%. We're seeing a zapping of volume at this point. And see Bitcoin dominance 40.85%, down 0.15%. Let's look at the price of Bitcoin this morning, $23,260, up 0.39%. We saw sell-offs at that 23,500 range there. We saw the bears actually, attack there because the bulls were trying to get above that resistance. We did get to 24,000 a few days ago, but now we're seeing some resistance, at this price there. 24-hour volume traded, $26.24 billion. Let's look at Ethereum now. We see Ethereum there, $1,663. That's up 0.43%. Volume traded, $15.38 billion in Ethereum. We're going to be talking about the Ethereum merge in a moment with my guest there. Let's look at the top alts by market cap, see how it's looking there. We see it's positive. It's all green on the top alts by market cap, showing that there's some positive sentiment in the market right now. Let's bring in my guest now, Gilbert Jopata, financial market analyst. Hello, Gilbert. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Ladi.
Yeah, great to have you. So I was talking about Ethereum a moment ago, and obviously the Ethereum merge has been making headlines recently. First of all, tell us what this means, Ethereum merge.
Okay, this is a long-awaited and quite talked about upgrade in the Ethereum network that will change the protocol forever. So the Ethereum merge is simply a transition of the Ethereum network from the proof of work to proof of stake. So proof of work is a consensus that depends on hardware mining, energy consumption to validate transactions, and then these miners are rewarded with Ethereum, while the proof of stake won't rely on mining. It reduces energy costs by about 99%. So what happens in the proof of stake is that validators stake their Ethereum, and then they are rewarded and then get rewarded. This is typically what it means for the merger. While a whole lot of change is going to occur, but the average user is not going to be majorly affected. They won't see any major change on how they interact with the network, and also how builders build decentralized application on the network. Basically, the fees, speed, cost all remains the same for the average user, except for investors. So the average user should not anticipate any major change, but investors should look at a whole lot of things, because they are highlight this merger is going to decrease issuance of the Ethereum cryptocurrency, which is quite deflationary, because the number of Ethereum that is being brought into the market by mining protocol is going to go down. So demand and supply is going to play a whole lot of role here. Then there is going to be staking. With this, investors can earn dividends on their holding on cryptocurrencies. So I believe this is going to attract a whole lot of institutional investors, and even retail investors are also going to rush in, so that they could take advantage of this. I actually believe this is a catalyst for price change for the price of the Ethereum cryptocurrency.
All right, but Gilbert, I remember the last bull run. We saw Ethereum fees actually skyrocket, last time. But the fees are looking quite good now. But I'm wondering, if another bull market comes, are we going to see sky-high Ethereum fees again?
If more persons start using the network, then there will be congestion in the network, and it's still possible we are still going to see a price increase in transaction costs. Although this merger has nothing to do with, it's not going to affect transaction fee or gas fee. But at the end of this, Ethereum still has a plan at the end of the day that is still going to reduce the cost of gas fee for the network. But this is not going to affect it.
All right, we'll keep watching that Ethereum blockchain and see how things pan out going forward. Thank you so much, Gilbert Jopata, financial market analyst.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's head on to the top gainers this morning. We see our Flow there leading that count is up by 39.63% at $2.61. And we see Waves, decentralized and exchange there, it's up by 10.86%. See SNX on that count, and Zcash, one of the privacy tokens there, $68. It's up by 8.32%. Top 5 losers there, we see Optimism. Optimism is topping the losers counter this morning. It's $1.97. Down 4.46%. This was trading at about 50 cents a couple of weeks ago. Great gains we're seeing with the Optimism there, Ini, and I'm sure I talked to you about that coin a few days ago, but yeah, that's how the market is looking right now.
Some people have been able to cash in quickly.
Exactly, quite an incredible run there.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with the crypto space. It's very volatile. You know, you don't know which way it could go. You could win, you could lose, and it depends on your appetite.
Win heavy, lose heavy.
Lose heavy. All right, Ladi, thank you so much. I guess our viewers will see you at 1:30 for Business Incorporated. All right, so that's it on the show today, this Friday edition. It's been a great 5 days journey, especially this week has been special for us. But we'll continue next week. You have great conversations here on Business Morning. But I'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. for Capital Market. Don't forget to join us. We'll do a recap of what has been happening in the market and have a directional outlook for next week. So join me tomorrow, Capital Market, 7 p.m. Ladi will be here at 1:30 for Business Incorporated. Other than that, you have a great day. I'm Ini John Mekwa.